Hello, this is Marie, and thank you for listening to my channel. Please like or subscribe below. Today, I'm going to talk to you about detachment. It's a very important aspect of actually learning not to feel separate. And those terms kind of feel like they're going against each other, but they actually aren't. Detachment is when you stop identifying with who you think you are, which allows you to connect to the bigger source consciousness of the universe. And that's when you stop feeling separate. And that's when you start to have multisensory experiences. Or if you already have them, allow them to expand into more psychic abilities, more consciousness, which will allow you to be a lot more happier and fulfilled while you journey here in this temporary reality called Earth. And yeah, my dog Charles is over here. I might have to throw his one of his favorite toys. It's a rabbit. It's kind of stinky and gross now, but it was very cute when he first got it. So we'll see what happens. So we're going to do an exercise together so that you can begin to unravel the attachments that you have, that your ego has given you about who you are, how you would identify yourself, things of that nature. And if you were listening to the radio show today, I interviewed Steve Taylor, who wrote a really great book, Extraordinary Awakenings. And he talked about people who were able to detach and actually have conscious awakening under very weird circumstances. He didn't use the word weird. I'm using it like people who go to prison because they have to let go of everything and surrender. And they, interesting enough, he interviewed a lot of people, even war people of prisoners of war who had a lot of spiritual awakenings. And also people who go to, who are in the military, who are under severe stress and anxiety, hiding out while the enemy fire is going on, and hopefully they aren't injured or wounded in any way. They're having spiritual experiences too, because they're having to look at life and death, which allows them to go inward. So we're going to do an exercise that doesn't require that you go to prison, go into the military, or one of his other examples, which has been my experience, is when people have horrific diagnoses in health, or it doesn't even have to be horrific. If it pushes all your buttons, it may help you to surrender, detach, and have a different experience. And that's how Steve started having his spiritual experiences. And really, I woke up to my psychic ability while I was not personally experiencing trauma, but I was a nurse working in a traumatic area of the hospital oncology. And that's what allowed me to enter the obligata. So inside the brain, it's complicated. There's a lot going in the brain and a lot that we need to ignore with our mind. The mind was really created to just stay in the present moment and make sure that you eat good food and you have enough layers on if you live in the Northwest. And hopefully remember to remove your dog if he's going to be barking while you're making a live video. So that's really what the mind is for. Humanity notoriously, though, uses their brain to overanalyze and process information. But when you're in a trauma, you become really, really present. Or in my case, when I was an oncology nurse, I witnessed what would be considered traumatic things that were happening to people all day long, even dying, which of course I enjoyed the process of being an oncology nurse. But nevertheless, I was part of an experience that allowed my psychic ability to open up, because that's where it opened while I was working on the oncology floor. But you don't have to have any of those experiences and grow consciously. And that's what spirituality is trying to teach everyone, is that you could literally be sitting on a toilet and have a real present moment and have an awakening. So we're going to do an exercise, an actual meditation that I've been using for years, that I, of course, have personally experienced. And in this meditation, I'm going to encourage you to strip away the things that you believe are who you are. And when I did this exercise, the first time, I had been working in the field of energy medicine for a couple of years, and it really had become a strong aspect of identification for me, because it was so fun and incredibly interesting and surprising, as it still is today. And when you're working on detaching from something that you have identified with, it's really strong and powerful for you, you're going to have some resistance toward doing that, or it's going to feel really uncomfortable. I don't want you to worry about those feelings. Those feelings are okay. If it feels uncomfortable, all the better. That's what it feels like when you finally become more of who you are, because we are so incredibly more amazing than we could possibly imagine. We are irreplaceable parts of the divine, of source energy, of God, whatever words you want to use. And when you start to strip away the limiting perspectives that you have of yourself, then you can merge into the expanded, authentic truth of who you are, which you probably have no idea what that is. You probably haven't even considered it. And so may this exercise that we will begin to do in just a moment allow you to begin to bridge the physical experience that you're having with the aspects of your higher self, which are living in the non-physical reality that show authentic aspects of yourself all the time. And when you do that, then you can have way more fun on earth. It makes everything way more interesting because you start to see the layers of reality that are occurring all the time. So you have this kind of maybe normal physical perception of what's going on. And then you have this elevated aspect of physical perception of what's going on. And then you can have even more multisensory perceptions of things that are not even happening, at least not from the physical perception, but are definitely happening outside of the physical world. And because you are more than physical, you are light and you are multidimensional. It's very fulfilling when a simple walk in the park or a grocery store experience or a drive on a rainy day is so rich with connection. So get comfortable. Please don't do this driving. So if you're listening to this when you're in the car, don't do this exercise or pull over. Have a sip of water, detach from what you were just doing. And then when you're ready, go ahead and close your eyes. And then take several deep belly breaths, just breathing into the belly, not expanding the rib cage, but expanding your Buddha belly. And on the third beautiful deep belly breath, go ahead and rotate your eyeballs upward as if you're trying to look into your eyebrows or towards the ceiling above you. And keep your stare there for several more beautiful belly breaths. And then keeping your eyes closed, you can lower your eyeballs and let them relax behind your eyelids. And then bring as much of your awareness to the lower half of your body. Maybe really get curious about your glute muscles, your seat muscles that you're using right now. Do you have more weight on the right side of your cheeks or the left side? Can you feel bones versus muscle? And while you're doing that, go ahead and creatively imagine, whether you see it, hear, or feel it, a waterfall moving from your head all the way down to your toes. Just allowing yourself to have a visualization, whether you see it, hear it, or feel it, of a waterfall moving all the way down to your toes. Maybe you'll have a combination of hearing it and feeling it, like the mist that comes from a waterfall, or you might see it. It might look like one of your favorite waterfalls on one of your favorite hikes. And at the same time, wiggle your toes for like 30 seconds. Good, because you're letting go of your mind with each one of these activities that I'm layering on top for you. And now I want you to imagine that you are standing on top of the earth. You can be bigger than you would be if you were standing on top of the earth, or you could be the size that you would be if you were standing on top of the earth. But I want you to visualize this, which could mean that you creatively experience this. You could hear it, you could see it, you could feel it. And then I want you to have that smaller or larger version of yourself that's standing on the earth to look out into the space, the stars, the planets. Maybe you could even imagine that you're looking into a completely different galaxy or another universe, because space is huge. It's non-ending, like everything is, because energy never ends. And then I want you to imagine that you're just free flowing in space. You're healthy. You have oxygen to breathe if you need it. Everything's fine, but you've let go of the earth. If you need to be tethered, that's fine, whatever you need to do to allow this experience to be comfortable. I would take note of the comfort too, like, I wanted to be tethered. Ooh, I needed a helmet that gave me oxygen. I just want you to pay attention to your resistance to really letting go if you are experiencing that. And just allow yourself to free float like a balloon that goes off into the heavens after it's released. Let yourself just free float into space. Remember, there's no time. So we're not going to even wonder what that is right now. We're just going to let go and let our bodies free flow into the multi-universe. And while you're free floating, of course, because you're in the nothingness, we're going to start separating your perception of who you are. So regardless of what your gender is, or even if you're not sure what your gender is, we're going to remove that. So in my case, because I think of myself as a woman, taking a deep breath, I'm just going to say to myself, and you can say something similar to yourself, what if I'm not a woman? And if you're not sure if you're a man or a woman, what if I'm not a man either? I'm just going to continue on. You may have to reconfigure the question based on your own personal perception of who you are. So what if I'm not a woman? We're just getting curious about that question because we're much more than gender. That's a very limiting perception of who anyone is. What if I'm not my age? What if I'm not, and in my case, a mother? Another strong identifying factor for me. Wow. And you might just start to feel your body let go and relax. Or if you're highly visual, you might see energy releasing from your body. Whatever you experience is perfect. You're on the right track. You're having an experience that I will encourage that you allow yourself to have over and over and over again. So right now, you're not a parent. You're not the gender you thought you were, or the genders that you identify with. You're not your age, so you're ageless. And in truth, your soul is ageless. You're not your height or your weight. You're not what you do if you work with a paycheck, because some people work at home and don't get paid, but they work harder than the rest of us. So if you work from home and you don't get paid, you're not that. If you work from home and you get paid, you're not that. If you work outside of the home and you get paid, you're not that. If you volunteer, so you're just going to let the barking help you to go deeper and deeper and deeper into consciousness. Any outside noise is going to help you to go even deeper and deeper. That's very important for meditation because we never know when we're going to hear a siren or someone knocking on the door or an adorable dog on alert. So you're just going to allow the outside noise to take you deeper and deeper into your meditation. That's very important. Good. You're reconnecting now. You're also not a child of someone's. You're not a child. You're not an uncle. You're not a niece. You're not a parent. You're not an employee. You're not an employer. You are stripping away everything you know about yourself. You're also not a smoker or a drinker. You're not a vegetarian. These things that are really important to you that you don't want other people to take away from you, they are no longer who you are. You're not a homeowner. You're not a person who saves money or spends a lot of money. You are not a graduate of a university or a primary school. All of these things that you have identified about yourself. You're not an author. You're not a connoisseur of amazing, beautiful food. You're not a chef. You're not a housekeeper. You're not a driver, things that parents relate themselves to. You're not a dog owner or a cat owner. And I'm just going to give you a few moments to come to your own conclusions of things that you can just strip away from your awareness, allow yourself to extend into expanded consciousness. To Take some deep breaths in the process. Any outside noise is just going to help you to go deeper and deeper into meditation, which means deeply letting go. So you're not wealthy or poor, you're not smart or innocent. You are precious beyond measure. That means you are part of the nothingness. And in this awareness that you're the nothingness, you are letting go of space and time, and you are really to allow yourself to free float out into the cosmos. Like a balloon, because we don't know how far they go, but they go very far, very far. You're not someone who worries about the environment or politics or viruses. You're not a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer. You have no job, no education, no gender, no responsibility to family. You're no one's child. You are part of the nothingness. Just going to give you several minutes of sitting in the space of the nothingness, of moving into an eloquent and beautiful form of detachment. And it feels good to let go of these things. Even if it feels a little uncomfortable, try wondering if it feels good too. Ask yourself, as you feel more and more comfortable in the letting go and of wondering, am I just nothing then? Am I just part of everything? And then when you're ready, then you can ask yourself, well, then what am I? And you can ask the universe, please express to me who I am in all of my magnificence. And just let that happen. Just let that happen. Just let the universe inspire you. You may not even know what the universe is communicating to you. You don't need to know. Your energy system will absorb it. Your consciousness will believe it. So just spend a few more minutes collecting energetic data about what you really are. Slowly, when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. I would do this meditation or something similar to it often. Have a great day. Bye-bye.